Okay, so you saw the title. Here we have a tier list of every Ace Attorney game, but we're going to do something a bit different. Instead of ranking them based on the quality of the game, we're going to rank them based on the quality of the Pursuit theme. And we'll do them in order of release. So, obviously, we'll start off with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney and Pursuit Cornered. So, Pursuit Cornered, obviously, in my opinion, might just be the best song I've ever made. It's definitely the best song from the DS era of Ace Attorney. Or, okay, I'm sorry, the Game Boy era of Ace Attorney, because these first three songs were all written to be on the Game Boy. Which is why I when you're comparing Ace Attorney music, there's three distinct eras that you have to compare. There's the Trilogy era, or the Game Boy era. There's the DS era, which would be Apollo Justice and the two Miles Edgeworth games. Then I have the modern era, or the 3DS era, which is Dual Destinies, Spirit of Justice, Great Ace Attorney, and then Layton vs. Wright. So if I rank something a little lower, just remember, I'm comparing it at least to its own era, because it's really hard to compare across different musical styles. Is anybody gonna say that Cornered is better composed than stuff from the Great Ace Attorney or Spellbreaker from Layton? No, right? Because those are orchestral songs. They had a lot more I don't want to say time, because obviously it took a lot of time, but I think you know what I mean. It takes a lot more to bring that all together. So for Justice for All, that's kind of tough actually. I have to put something last on the tier list. This doesn't mean it's bad. I think that Wanting to Question is a really good song. It's one of the best songs in Justice for All. But comparing it to Cornered and Caught, I mean, it's just not up there. It's just not. It's basic, it's very fast-paced and hyped, and I do enjoy that. So I'll give them props for that. But it's not as good as the other two. I think we can all agree. Speaking of Caught, that's going to go straight in A tier. One of my favorite things about Pursuit Caught is how, I don't know, it's kind of like two songs fighting against each other, but it's like a perfect allegory, I think that's the word. Like a perfect representation for Trials and Tribulations itself. The high-pitched part, which plays, is, I think, Phoenix, and then the lower-pitched part that's fighting against it is Gato. And I think that's the only time in the trilogy they really did that, and they put a lot of love into the story of Trials and Tribulations, even in the soundtrack. Alright, so moving on, let's get to Apollo. So my issue with Overtaken is it's very hype, but it's too hype for its own good. If you played the game, you'll understand what I mean. I think somebody did some stats on it, and Overtaken is like the least played Pursuit theme out of all of them. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it, even counting Justice for All, which is also only 4 cases. And I think they did an average, and it had the lowest average. And that's because it's so hype. It's way too hype. It can't play in all the moments. That's why they had the Telling the Truth theme play a lot more than in other games. It sort of acted like the Cornered Light theme. Alright. So I think I'm going to have to throw it in B tier. It's too hype for its own good. It's still a good song, though. Okay, so now we'd have the 2 Miles Edgeworth games. Lying Coldly going straight in S tier. I don't think there's a Pursuit theme that fits the protagonist more than Lying Coldly fits Miles Edgeworth. I think I've said that before. Pianos are perfect. It's also just a kick-ass song to listen to. I listen to it when I'm writing scripts sometimes, as I do Cornered. It's just great. There's really not much else I can say about it. Wanting to Find the Truth, it's also going to go in B tier. Might get some hate for that, but remember, B tier means it's really good. It's just that all of these songs are really good. It's just not as good as Lying Coldly, and I don't think it fits Edgeworth as well. It's kind of more techno-y and whatnot, and Edgeworth's not a very technological guy, let's be honest here. So it's a bit lower on my list. It's still good, though. So I believe the next release would be Layton vs. Wright. So I'll take into account Spellbreaker and Cornered, the English court version, because they both play. So everybody really likes these songs, and everybody's always wondering what my thoughts are on them, so you'll get them here. I'm comparing these all together. All of these 5 are being compared to each other, really. It's gonna go A tier. I like it. It's both of them. Obviously, Cornered, you can't fuck up Cornered, let's be real. You can't. It's perfect, right? So adding the orchestral instruments to it, fantastic. Spellbreaker's another pretty hype song, especially in the way that it starts off. And I've never actually played this game because I'm not a big Layton fan. I've just never been a big fan of puzzle games. But listening to it, it really goes with the vibe of what I have seen from the game. Very, like, medieval, intense, you know, like, fantasy style. So I enjoy that. Next release would be Dual Destinies. So, for Dual Destinies, I don't know. Can we agree that... That was a little bit of a voice crack there. Can we agree that... Keep Pressing On is kind of like the least hype pursuit theme out of all of them. It's kind of up there with Wanting to Find the Truth. It's kind of not that hype. It's going to go in C tier for me. And it's a good song, of course, but I think compared to the other orchestral era, or DS era, or, sorry, post-DS era music, it's just not up there. With them. And that's okay. It's still good. I listen to it. I enjoy Dual Destiny's soundtrack. It's really not that bad. Next release would be the first Great Ace Attorney game. Yeah, I think it's got to go S tier. For its pursuit theme, it's the best in its class. I think we can all agree that of the new era, the post-DS era Ace Attorney games, this game's pursuit theme is the best in its class. And yes, I'm still not finished with him. I'm sorry, I had college, okay? Jeez. Stop roasting me in the comments. Nah, I'm just playing. It'll happen soon, though. I'm finishing up, getting started on the second game here in a minute. But it's very good. It's a fun listen. I also don't think it plays as much as the other pursuit themes, if I remember correctly, based on that list that somebody did years ago now. But it's a good song, and obviously, there's an airplane outside. I'll throw the second Great Ace Attorney game up there too, even though it came out after Spirit of Justice. They have the same pursuit theme, and then the Great Ace Attorney adds a second one, which is also very good. Obviously, I don't know the context, so honestly, maybe it'll overtake Cornered. We'll see, but I don't... These two are just like S+, and these are like S, but yeah. Okay, so finally, to conclude, Spirit of Justice, Cornering Together. First off, I do like the song, but its name. They went a little too meta. Like, Cornering Together, yeah, obviously. Apollo, Phoenix, yeah, they corner together. But, like, come on. You're just going super meta with the name being Cornering Together because your most famous song is called Cornered. But all in all, it's a different pursuit theme. The Spirit of Justice soundtrack as a whole is different from all of the post-DS era soundtracks. Uses a lot more instruments, and I love that. It has my favorite Apollo objection theme. It's got some of my favorite non-courtroom music. What can I say? It's a good-ass soundtrack. And it's going to go A tier. Cornering Together is going to go A tier. If I had to list these, I'd probably put Cornering Together above Layton. It's a good song. I love its intro. There's two versions of this song. There's the one with the extended intro that you might find on YouTube, and there's the one that's used in the game, which obviously doesn't have the extended intro. I prefer the extended intro version when I'm just listening, but in the game it works just fine. It's got a nice melody. It's pretty cool. It has a different vibe from all the other songs, and I appreciate that. They went for something different, and it actually worked. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Subscribe. I'll catch you later. See ya.